It's going to be a dogfight here in Seattle, so shout out for your favorite breed. Are you a Husky or a Bulldog?
Time to kick off the college football season by letting the dogs out. The Huskies from Washington and the Fresno State Bulldogs take the field in the Northwest to battle it out and see whose bite is bigger than their bark. Pat Hill has his Bulldogs ready to break loose and be at the top of the whack all season long. The Huskies are trying to bounce back from a disappointing year and keep themselves straight in a Pac-10 season that will be sure to have a lot of twists and turns. All right, enough with the words. Time for some action. Fresno State versus Washington starts now.
The Seattle-Washington Chamber of Commerce ought to be taking a lot of pictures. Absolutely beautiful weather conditions for this football game. Yes, they tailgate in a very different way up here in the Pacific Northwest, but they are on hand to cheer on the hometown Huskies. College football, still a big show in town. We welcome you to College Football Saturday, presented by Kyocera, as the Fresno State Bulldogs make a house call on the Washington Huskies. Hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins. We welcome you to a new season of Pac-10 Conference football. We've got contenders, we've got pretenders, we've got wannabes. We got the preseason #1 team in the country, USC. We got a team that's ranked 14 in California that I think is better than that. The Oregons are good, the Arizonas are good. Should be a terrific year in Pac-10 Conference play. And there's a new thing here for me, too, on Fox Sports Net. I got a new partner, and you know him. You remember him playing for the University of Southern California, wearing number 35. He ran hard, he played hard, he scored a lot of touchdowns for USC, and every now and then he did a little dance, sort of like this, and it was a dance like this that kept him out of real show business and put him in the booth next to me. Petros Papadakis, welcome, pal.
Barry, I'm not out of the movies yet. I still got a shot at Hollywood, but you know what? I couldn't be happier to be here with you. Pac-10 football all year. We're going to be everywhere. It's a dream come true for me, and I'm your 100th analyst that you've ever worked with. The century mark, you finally reached it.
The latest is the bestest. We got a great game for you right here, too. Washington Huskies kind of licking their wounds, even though they haven't played a game. It's about who they lost and who they can find to replace who they lost.
Well, they lost Reggie Williams, and he was a special receiver, one of the most special I've ever seen in the Pac-10, but they still have Charles Frederick. This is a very exciting guy. You will see them try to get him the ball at least 20 times in this game. They'll flip it to him. They'll pass it to him. They'll stretch the field with him. They'll run reverses. Frederick is the man on this football team, and if they have anything, they have Frederick. He's exciting.
You know, we used to talk about the Washington Huskies, talk about them as a team that personified smash mouth football. Well, now you got to turn that over. That's the way we're talking about Fresno State. They got a running back by the name of Dwayne Wright. They can pound you, and with a guy named Wright, you can't go wrong.
Certainly not. This guy is a special back. They're very high on him. Every single Fresno coach gushes when you talk about Dwayne Wright. That's because he has every tool that you need to have as a back. He can run the zone. He can run outside. He can run inside. He has breakaway speed. He's physical, and he's got beautiful vision. Dwayne Wright ran for 1,000 yards last year. They're looking for another 1,000 this year.
And it's a huge game for Fresno State. They just love beating up on BCS opponents. They're going to try to do that to the hometown Washington Huskies. We'll be back for the opening kickoff right now. Back to you guys. We welcome you back to Husky Stadium in Seattle. Fresno State and Washington just about to tee it off. And here come the Huskies. And the Huskies come out barking. And Petros, you have experienced this. What a tough place on a visiting team.
I played back here in 1997, and we didn't cross the 50. You know, they say it's one of the most scenic places to watch a football game, but you know what? Not if you're the visiting team. The angles in the stands are so steep that the crowd looks like they're going to fall on you. It's one of the few places in the country also, Barry, that they bark at you, and that's a little disconcerting for a college kid.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And you talk about stadiums rocking. Well, this one literally rocks. Just a couple of minutes ago, before the Huskies came out, people pounding their feet, jumping up and down, and I mean literally this place shaking.
And you know what? That's not good either for a young freshman football player or anybody playing in this stadium for the first time. Nobody wants to feel the earth moving ever, and when it happens when you're just about to play a very tough Washington football team, I tell you, it's very intimidating.
Not so good for an 85-year-old stadium either. We're up on top of the world, too, I will tell you that. Well, that's what the Fresno State Bulldogs will have to deal with. They will have to deal with the crowd, and I think it's going to be very important for Fresno State to take this crowd out of the game early. Now, I have seen that happen up here, but you got to jump on them early.
You have to jump on them early. There's one way that Fresno State can do that. That is by running the football. That's why by using Dwayne Wright, being angry, being physical, quieting this crowd down. That's the only shot they got early in the first quarter.
And here come the Bulldogs onto the playing field, and as you can see, the silence is deafening. And that's what happens in Washington. They'll beat you up once they get you going. It's going to be incumbent on the visitors from Fresno, although they did bring quite a few fans of their own. They travel in bunches, do the Fresno fans. The Red Wave, they call them, and they are here in Seattle hoping that their Bulldogs can do what they've done so many times before, and that is jump up and bite a bigger dog. Opening kickoff going to be coming up in just a couple of moments, so don't go away. We're coming back to Rockin' Husky Stadium, the Bulldogs of Fresno State, the Huskies of Washington after this.
What the fuck is it? First quarter, let's go. Win on three. 1, 2, 3, win.
Welcome back to Seattle. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis. We are at Husky Stadium, and we are just about set to go. Fresno State and Washington. Washington won the toss, and they will receive. Now, that's really kind of a surprise. Washington usually, in fact, most teams usually will defer, but they want the football. And I think the reason that they do want the football, Petros, is that they want to get it in the hands of Charles Frederick right now.
They want to get their offense on the field. They want to get that young quarterback, Casey Paz, going. They want to get Fredericks going. They want to get some explosiveness in this stadium to get this crowd excited. Washington, not that strong on defense last year. A lot of the same guys back in this year. They got to protect that defense with an explosive offense.
And Keith Gilbertson, of course, an offensive guy. He's been an offensive coordinator for many years and kind of redirecting his teams and get down the other end where you belong. But they're going to take the football first. They will start with their backs to Lake Washington here. Charles Frederick will be the deep man along with Sonny Shackelford for the Washington Huskies. And here's a look at Pat Hill. You got to like this guy. I mean, he gets his team prepared as well as anyone.
It depends what kind of football you like. If you like smash-mouth football, this is your guy. And in the meetings that we had with him yesterday, I've never been so afraid of a coach in my life. He looks at you with those mean eyes, and he's got that handlebar mustache, and he is all business. And this is 8th year at Fresno. All he does here is win and battle, battle, battle for respect, and the Bulldogs are getting it.
Brent Bissentainer will kick it away for the Fresno State Bulldogs. As we said, Frederick and Shackelford, the deep man for the Washington Huskies. There is a look at Charles Frederick. They call him E.T. And they want to get him at least 15 touches in a game. To say that he's a big play guy really is to make an understatement. Crowd on its feet, and the 2004 college football season kicks off. Twisting kick headed for Shackelford. He doesn't touch it, and it goes in and out of the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the Huskies will start at the 20-yard line. Take a look at the lineups. First of all, for the Washington Huskies, and they will use a two-headed quarterback system, but they will start with Casey Paz. You might remember his brother Corey was a starting quarterback at UCLA, comes from New Lenox, Illinois, and a very confident guy with a very strong arm. The backs and receivers, Kenny James, and they're looking for a 1,000-yard season out of him. He's got breakaway speed. Zach Tuiasosopo, predominantly a blocker, but will get his carries every now and then. And then Frederick and Williams, the wideouts. The offensive line, Barnes, Walker, Vanneman, Daniels, and Brooks. And it is something of a question mark, and it usually isn't up here in Seattle. That is usually one of the Huskies' strengths. They go out of the I formation in a slot right. And they give it to the fullback, Tuiasosopo, on first down, and he gets just about a yard, no more than that. Bulldogs shut it down right now. They will run a lot of option, and that's what the Fresno defense is going to have to deal with. They will start with Morris, Booker, Leonard, and McIntyre up front. Very active, and they'll rotate about 7 people on that down 4. Marcus Riley getting the start today ahead with Dwayne Andrews and Todd Garcia, and a very good secondary. The strength of this team is at the corners, Marshall and Washington, and they have 5 corners, all of whom can cover. 3 wideouts now for the Huskies on second down. Quick toss this time to Frederick, and he has no place to go. I think he had his knee down when he caught the ball. Going to lose about a yard. Frederick is a guy that had literally the second biggest day in the history of Pac-10 Conference football, and the biggest day in the history of the University of Washington last year. He had 327 yards, all-purpose, one game, 59 catches, and you talked about it earlier, Petros, a 14-yard per catch average.
216 yards just receiving in that game, 3 touchdowns all the way around. He went wild, and, you know, he broke a all-purpose yard record here at Washington that was held by Hugh McElhaney.
Goes back a few years.
I guess so.
Hall of Famer Hugh McElhaney. Slot left this time. They go out of the gun. Paws going to put it up. Drops straight back. Has time. Steps up. Throws deep. Has Shackelford incomplete. Flag down. Going to get interference against Nate Ray. And I don't think he had to do that because that ball sailed well over his head.
That is not a play that Ray had to make. He had the receiver right on him. All he had to do was jump up and slap it down. He got a little bit impatient, and that'll happen in the first game of the year. There you see the ball going up, and Ray going for the tackle, not even looking at the ball, did not have a lot of confidence in his ability to make that play, and just went right after Shackelford. Bad play by Ray, and not a penalty that they had to have for the Bulldogs. That's going to upset Pat Hill.
Absolutely gives the Huskies a first down. Call a personal foul.
And that's also going to happen early in the first game. Guys get chippy. I mean, remember, this is the first time that either of these teams have seen an opposite color on the other side of the field. They've been beating up on each other in camp for 2-3 weeks.
On the play, personal foul on the defense, number 99. That penalty will be enforced 15 yards from the previous spot. Also on the play, pass interference on the defense, number 3. That penalty is declined. First down and 10.
Well, a big break for the Huskies, and a little bit too aggressive that time on the part of Danielle Booker.
That's not the way you want to start out a game, Barry, especially inside. You know, you want these guys to be aggressive. You want them to fight. You want them to be angry. You want them to throw blows, but only between the whistles. When it gets after the whistle and you start throwing punches at people, that's when the flags start flying, and it's not a good thing for anybody, especially when you're on the road.
Keeps early momentum now for the Washington Huskies. They send Daniels to the far side of the field. Russo in the slot inside of Frederick to the near side. Out of the I formation. Pause the quarterback. Give to James for the first time. Spins off one man, 35, and down at the 38-yard line. Garcia on the tackle. Garcia missed the tackle, and then he was ultimately stopped at the 38. Called for 37.
They blitzed Garcia off the backside, and he was in perfect position to make this play. James just made him miss. Sometimes when you blitz in that situation and there's nobody that blocks you, Garcia found himself all alone with the running back in the backfield, especially in the first drive of the first game. Guys have a tendency to freak out. James got by him.
Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Start Frederick in motion this time. Pause, play fake, will throw. Out of the backfield this time. The ball was caught by Sissoko, and he'll have a first down, and another flag comes in, and I'm sure that's going to be a late hit against Fresno.
Things are getting a little chippy out there early. Zach Sissoko, we said he'd get his touches. Here you see Paz just hitting it in the flat, very easy catchable ball. Sissoko turns it up the field. He knows where the first down is, and that's a face mask and a late hit maybe they can call on that, Barry.
Yeah, that's tough. Aggressive defense, but a little bit too aggressive early in this game for the Bulldogs. James Saunders was the guy that was there. Richard Marshall as well. No foul, they say.
That's interesting. I thought there might have been 2 fouls on that one. Sanders is one of the most physical tacklers that Fresno State has. They said he might be the best secondary player in the history of the university when it's all said and done. The guy's just a junior. I thought he was a little over-aggressive on that play with the face mask and the hit out of it.
Could just be all the adrenaline that's going on for the Bulldogs right now.
It's crazy in the first game. You know, you have to remember to play football all over again.
1st and 10, the ball at the 47-yard line. Pitch to James, runs the right side. No place to go. Knocked out of bounds short of midfield at the 48 by Todd Garcia.
And that's a good run by Kenny James. He gets a few yards. He gets what he can. A lot of running backs will just take that one all the way to the sideline and get thrown out of bounds, maybe for a 1-yard loss or no gain. But James is able to get a couple yards out of that just by being patient and following the blockers. That's what you really have to do on a sweep. You got to be patient, follow those blockers, and get yourself a couple yards so you're not dealing with a 2nd and 10.
Good pursuit by the Fresno State defense just to string it out that time. 2nd down and 8. They go out of the I formation, slot left. Quick toss this time, a pause, and it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Saunders. That is Claude Sanders. They have James Sanders and Claude Sanders. James Sanders is safety, Claude Sanders defensive end.
Claude Sanders is a guy they're going to rotate him. They like him because he's physical, and that's what happens when the quarterback drops 3 steps. They tell these guys, get your hands up. Get them up and knock that ball down, because you're not going to get to him and make the sack. Just get your hands up and try to knock down those little flip plays.
You can see what the Bulldogs have done defensively. 23 points allowed per game. Second behind Boise State, an excellent team. And they are again this year. Average only 15 points per game. Out of the shotgun again. 3rd and long now for the Huskies. Big play early in this game. Pause, straight back. Rush comes over the middle. Ball's caught. First down at the 38-yard line. Charles Frederick.
And there he is, E.T., long hair and all. You know, his hair's a lot longer than it was last year. I don't think he's cut it. Tyrone Colbert made the play, but he made it a little bit late. Frederick just found a spot inside that zone. A little bit of a pick by John Lyon, the tight end. And that's how Frederick got so wide open. Amazing there wasn't a penalty on that one, Barry, but first down Washington.
I'll say Lyon really gave him everything. Took the man right off him. First down at the 38-yard line now for the Huskies. Out of the gun again. They gave him an inside handoff this time to Sims, and he doesn't get much, about a yard. James Sims, junior out of Las Vegas. Backup fullback to Tuiasosopo.
You see a pick play like that, and you wonder, what were the referees looking at? Maybe those guys got their shoulder pads or their face masks hooked up and they couldn't get unhooked, but that was very blatant by John Lyon, and they couldn't have taught him to do that, and sometimes you just get hooked up to a guy and you can't get rid of him.
Slot left this time. 9th play of the drive upcoming here for the Dogs. That is the Huskies. We got dogs and dogs here. Short drop pass, throws out here, caught by Frederick, knocked out of bounds. Gain of about 4. Richard Marshall knocked him out. But they are getting the ball in the hands of Frederick.
And that is what a guy like Charles Frederick does for your team. Sometimes it's a substitution for the run game. If you can get him out there on little flip plays and hit him in the flat or hit him on little slants and get yourself 5 yards, that's almost as good as a run play. The only thing it doesn't do, Barry, is beat up and take football out of that defensive line. And that's one thing you want to do in a football game, especially when you have the home field advantage. But Frederick, he's good for 5 yards when you give him a little flip like that.
3rd down and 6. They're in a dime package, are the Bulldogs. 6 defensive backs. They will blitz a lot out of this. They have not yet to blitz today. They show blitz, and here they come. And Paz unloads it. It's almost picked. Knocked down that time by Marcus Riley, and a good job coming up from the left linebacker spot by Riley.
And Marcus Riley is a guy that they move from the safety position, and they like to put him in the middle when they run that dime position. He brought some heat, and he knows how to get those hands up. He's a defensive back. Tyrone Colbert came with the blitz and put some pressure on Paz. He got rid of the ball early. It looked like a good play, but getting those hands up helps.
So the Husky drive will stall, and Adam Jennings will stand at the 10-yard line to receive this punt. And Bulldogs oftentimes, they'll come after kickers. This one is angled toward the corner, but misses badly, goes well into the end zone, and a flag is down at about the 27-yard line. 35-yard punt, no return, but let's see about the penalty. Fresno State was hampered by penalties on that drive. A couple of them keeping the drive alive. And this one is going to go against Fresno State. It's a hold, and I believe that's going to give the Huskies a first down. I will see if it's post-possession or not. I don't know.
Pat Hill has to be pulling his mustache hairs out right now, Barry.
On the return team, number 24. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the 20-yard line. First down and 10, Fresno State.
So it was a post-possession penalty, so Fresno State will have the ball, but they're going to have to start deep in their own territory at the 10-yard line. We're scoreless. 11:22 left first quarter. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is presented by Kyocera Wireless Phones. All the features, none of the hassles. By Napa Auto Care Centers. Napa, get the good stuff. And by Lee Dungarees, who remind you, no matter what happens, don't flinch. And by Toyota, get the feeling. Toyota. Welcome back. Bulldogs have the ball for the first time. They run a little delay and get the ball across the 15-yard line to the 16. They just hurried to the line of scrimmage. And Wright carried for a gain of 6.
They really did sprint up to the line of scrimmage on that one, and they caught the Washington defense off guard. They weren't able to get their strength in there, and they got him for a quick 6 yards.
So it'll be 2nd down and 4. Paul Pinniger, the quarterback, out of the I formation with a right to tailback. Bring a tight end in motion. Give it a right, left side, a little gap, and it shuts down. And right is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look, first of all, for the Fresno State Bulldogs offensively. And we mentioned Paul Pinniger will be the quarterback. He is a junior, and he is 15-5 as a starter. Comes from Woodland, California. Dwayne Wright, we spoke about him. Nate Adams gets the start at fullback. Adam Jennings is their big play guy. This is a very deep and very talented team. Very good along the offensive line. Mankins and Shack, two of the best in the WAC. Rivera now in at the running back spot. They go out of the gun on 3rd down and 5. Pinniger, the quarterback. Huskies show blitz. They back out of it. Pinniger with time. He throws, has a man. Ball is caught this time by Fernandez, and it's going to be close. Joe Fernandez. That's a familiar name to you. It should be. His dad was a pretty good football player. Remember Mervyn Fernandez?
Swervin' Mervyn Fernandez of LA Raiders fame.
Good enough for the 1st down. Oh, 4th down. I beg your pardon. They come up short. So 3 and out for the Bulldogs on their first possession. Fernandez just couldn't get the shoulders squared away long enough to make that 1st down. Frederick will be the deep man. Here's where he could be very, very dangerous. Mike Lingua, the punter. And now they rush Frederick up the line of scrimmage because they didn't have a man on the outside. They only had 10 men on the field. Now they make an adjustment, a short, wobbly kick. Frederick, fair catch at the 42-yard line.
That's the longest I've ever seen a kick returner run on a fair catch.
No 38-yard punt. The good news for the Bulldogs, no return. They're coming back. Well, both teams sputter a little bit on their first offensive tries of the day. Washington Huskies here in this opening game really trying to find out something about themselves. This is a team that lost a whole lot of yards last year in losing Cody Pickett, and as you mentioned earlier, losing Reggie Williams.
That's just about 14,000 yards of offense between Pickett and Williams career-wise. How do you replace that? Not really sure, but it's exciting to see who they got and who's going to step up and be the man on this Washington offense.
But the Huskies will start at the 43-yard line. Paws still the quarterback. 3-step drop. Swings it out here for Russo and missed badly. Well, here's the pieces of the puzzle for the Washington Huskies. They lost Cody Pickett, as you said, a 7th-round draft choice of the San Francisco 49ers, who not, incidentally, is impressing the 49er folk down in the Bay Area. 10,000-plus career passing yards. And we already spoke of Reggie Williams. He was the big play guy, and I say that with due respect to Charles Frederick. And they lost another 3,600 yards there. So here's a guy who's trying to pick up a whole lot of slack. Here's the option. The Paws running. He's got room. 45. Tried to step outside, and a fingertip tackle that time by Richard Marshall saved a big play.
And I'm not sure if Stanbeck was in the game that he would have made that play. I mean, Paws got just tackled by the shoe tip, and that's too bad because it looked like he might have had a 1st down on this one. He makes a correct read, takes the ball right up the field. The pitchman was covered by 2 guys. And Paws just can't break free. It would have been a 1st down for Washington. A lot of confidence for a guy who doesn't run the option a lot.
3rd down and 6. He's a big guy, not exactly your prototypical option quarterback. Out of the gun this time. Here comes a blitz. There's a shovel pass. And going to be a 1st down for Russo at the 45-yard line of Fresno. Right call at the right time.
And this is some of the creativity that you're going to see in a Keith Gilbertson offense. He just showed you the option going right. Now he comes back left, gives you an option look, and flips the ball very quickly to the slot guy, Russo. Russo does the right thing, takes the ball up the field, makes a cut, breaks a tackle, spins around a little bit, and gets a 1st down. Very creative play by Keith Gilbertson.
1st down at the 45-yard line. Gilby always a great offensive mind.
The Prince of the Northwest offensively.
Love the guy. Slot left this time. I formation once more, and Paws checking off here. 5-man front shown by the Bulldogs. Now they back out of it. They come off the corner, and that's going to hit Marshall in the back, and they're going to get him for interference, and I think that's right.
See, seemingly a bit of miscommunication there between Fredericks and Paz. Fredericks looked to be going way down the field. Paz wanted to hit him with like a mid-range pass. And Marshall saw that ball and tried to fight through Fredericks. I'm not sure about that flag, Barry.
He was draped around him pretty good, I thought.
Going for the ball.
Pass interference on the defense. Spot of the foul.
So the third penalty for Fresno State that has cost them a first down. Now the ball at the 33-yard line.
That's part of the deal when you play aggressive defense as well. You're going to get a lot of penalties, and this Fresno State team very aggressive defense.
First down at the 33-yard line. I formation once more. Here's the pitch back to James. James at the 30, head down to the 28-yard line. Got about 5. Richard Marshall on the stop again. They're running that option pretty well, though.
They told us we were going to see option, and not just with Stanbeck in the game. Isaiah Stanbeck yet to be in the game, but Casey Paz is running it very, very well. He gets a nice pitch going out there. We saw a shovel pass. We've seen him keep the ball. We've seen him pitch the ball. Let's check out Khalif Barnes. He's the All-American candidate right tackle for them. He's their weak tackle, but they're running on the strong side. He's very physical, gets out there, puts his hands on the linebacker, and poor Garcia's just not going to get away from him in that situation.
Marshall comes up with a saving tackle, gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Give it to James this time, right side, little gap, dance step, gets inside the 25, down about the 22. They'll have another Husky first down. Gain of 6, and he earned it.
And the former walk-on Todd Garcia again on that tackle, and he did earn it. This is why they like Kenny James. He runs physically, he runs inside, but you can also give him the ball outside like you saw on the pitch. He's an all-around back. Now, the days of giving him back the ball 30 times a game, they might be over. But if there is a back in the Pac-10 that can do that, Kenny James might be the guy.
They go out of the shotgun again. And here's a shovel pass again, this time to Sims, and that doesn't get much. Gain of about 2.
Well, fool Fresno State once on defense, shame on you, but fool them twice, shame on them. They're not going to fall for that shovel pass again. I think that's the only time that Gilby's going to be able to run that one at them. But he tried it again to the other side, and it was a valiant effort, but just didn't make the play.
2nd down and 8, the ball at the 20-yard line, and Washington has held the ball most of this first quarter. Fresno State has only had 3 offensive snaps out of the I formation once more. Shackelford in the slot. Short drop, Paz throws, and incomplete, intended for Frederick, and Marshall had a beat on that. If that ball had been thrown well, Marshall might have been gone.
And Paz has been throwing the ball a little bit flighty out there in the flat. He's a little bit out of control with those flat balls, and he's only had 1 big ball over the middle. He's going to have to settle down a little bit, but that's what you expect. This guy is starting his very first game, and you know what? He's a junior. So he's been watching this all go down for years here in Washington without getting out there on the field and actually doing it for himself. He's 6 of 10 right now with 33 yards, and he's going to have to improve that. They're going to want him around 60%.
Slot left this time, 3rd down and 8. Again, they run what looks like the option. Now they throw behind it. Paz throws too tall that time, intended for Anthony Russo. And it'll be 4th down. It should bring about a field goal try. Now, Fresno State, we talked about how effective they are in blocking kicks. They blocked 9 kicks last year. And don't you know they're going to be coming after a young kicker like Knutson.
They're like a baby Virginia Tech out here on the West Coast. Fresno State takes pride in blocking kicks, and that's really the mark of a physical team. Defense and special teams, and Pat Hill truly has it going. You saw another high pass from Casey Paz there.
37-yard attempt for Evan Knutson. He'll hit it out of the hold of Casey Paz. Snap placed on its way, and no good. Might have hooked it to the left. No good. Richard Marshall was coming hard, and they almost got it. What they do is they make you do things quicker than you want to do it. And they really play havoc with your timing. Fresno State will have it after the missed field goal attempt. We're scoreless. 5 minutes, 58 seconds remaining to be played here in quarter number 1. Don't go away. We're coming back. Welcome back to Husky Stadium. It's a scoreless game. 5:59 remaining in the first quarter, and Fresno State will have the football for only the 2nd time in this game. They were 3 and out in their first possession. Paul Penninger under center to go out of the I formation. Right to tailback, long time from Penninger. Give it a right, left side, a little bit of a gap. Fumble. Ball is loose and the Huskies have it. That's Goldson with the ball at the 40, at the 35. Penninger has to make the tackle and does at the 26-yard line. First big turnover of the ball game, and the Huskies get it.
That's what you don't want to do when you're playing on the road at Washington, especially in this stadium, especially in the opener. Turnovers will destroy you. And Wright has a great run. Adams with a solid block on this one. You see the great block. Wright makes the right cut. The ball just pops out. Didn't even look like anybody knocked it out. And Deshaun Goldson picks up that ball. This is a guy that won the job in camp, a junior college transfer that didn't even get a chance to play in the spring because he had shoulder surgery. And they were a little bit worried. They were a little bit concerned about how he was going to perform on the field. Well, he was around the ball on that one, Barry, and he makes a big play.
Husky offense right back in business here. They have it at the 27-yard line. Fresno has had only 4 snaps in this first quarter. Big turnover. Real chance for the Dogs here. Pause with time. Pump fake. Now he throws a swing. It's caught by James. James at the 25 to the 20-yard line, and then he's popped. Alan Goodwin, first man to him from Fresno State. That play looked like it was going further than it did. Gain of 7.
Paz was a little slow on the progression in that one. The third receiver in the progression was Kenny James out there on the swing route. He checked one man, he checked another man. Kenny James was open the entire time. He could have hit him earlier. That might have been a touchdown play, but he hit him a little late. The ball was behind him. Kenny James only got about 7 yards.
Second down and 3 now. The ball at the 21-yard line. Corey Paz all the way, or Casey Paz all the way at quarterback. Now they flop the tight ends. Paz pitch to James. James avoids the first tackler, but not the second. They get him from behind. Loss of about 1.5 yards. Right now, let's go back to our studio for a Kyocera game break. Guys?
Barry, thank you very much. Battle of the Bluegrass States. Senior quarterback for Louisville, Stephen LaForce, finds the junior Broderick Clark. That made it 21-0. Louisville's won 31 straight games when leading after 3. They're in the 4th, Barry.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. So we'll keep you posted on what's happening not only there, but all around the country on this Sunday of college football. Very unusual. Time that the Washington Huskies have ever opened their season on a Sunday. Big play right here. 3rd down and 4. Nickel defense for the Bulldogs. Pause, straight back, steps up. Now he throws for the end zone. Nobody there. Little miscommunication there.
That play seemed doomed from the beginning. Casey Paz seemed to open up the wrong way and then threw into the middle of nowhere, and that's what you get when you have a quarterback who's starting his first football game. Look for him to settle down in the second quarter and get a feel for it. Football's a feeling game. Just getting in and out of the huddle, talking to the refs, the play clock. All that takes adjustment in the first game of the season.
So Evan Knudsen will come on to try this time a 38-yard field goal. He was wide left on a 37-yard attempt a moment ago. And again, we tell you that Fresno State, one of the most adept teams at blocking kicks in America. They have a 10-man front right now. Knudsen will hit this at the 28-yard line. Snap, place, kick, and not going to get there this time either. Short and left. And Fresno State dodges another bullet.
I believe they got a piece of that one over the top, which was a ball that must have been kicked very low. But Knudsen just not getting that ball off the turf well. And a lot of kickers don't like kicking on this field turf.
I think it might have been Logan Mankins who got a piece of it. You're right. And so Fresno State again, I mean, they are really disruptive in the kicking.
They sure are, and they seem to be in this young kicker's head, and he's pushing his hand like, hey, they got a piece of it. Well, they got a piece of it, Evan, because you kicked it so low. You got to get that ball up, especially when you have jumpers behind the line of scrimmage.
So 2 missed field goals for the Huskies. They can't take advantage of the first turnover of the game, and now the Bulldogs will have it again at the 21-yard line. Someone in a tailback for the first time. Play fake. Penninger will throw. In trouble. Down he goes. Manas Hapoy, first man to him for the Huskies with help from Brandon Alla. Let's take a look at the Washington Huskies defense, and they made it count right there. Along the defensive line, Mapuala Sega with Hapoy and Alla, who combined for that sack on Penninger. Lobendon back after an injury season last year. Scott White with Evan Benjamin moved from safety because of his speed. Derek Johnson, very good corner. Both these teams solid at the cornerback. Johnson and Cunningham for Washington. Play fake, Pinnaker to throw again. Now he has to step up and does throw a little bit late, but it's caught by Jamison. He's short of the first down by about 6 yards.
Pinnaker showed a lot of what he had and lost, and he didn't really show last year. He had a torn pectoral muscle last year. Didn't throw the ball very well. Couldn't really get the zip on the ball. Now, after getting sacked on first down, he comes back and throws a strike to Jamison. That'll be good for his confidence.
Yeah, what Pat Hill told us is that he's a very good quarterback at the line of scrimmage, and a lot of their offense starts at the line of scrimmage. They go out of the gun this time on third down, a short 6. Straight back Pinnaker, he's got time. Now he throws deep this time, and it is knocked away. And a flag comes in. I don't know about that one. Sam Cunningham looked to me like he got all ball, but we're about a million miles away, so I'll trust the official's judgment. Gilby didn't like it too much.
Cunningham seemed to be there right on time. Right when the ball got there, he slapped the ball. That's what it seemed like to me from here as well.
And the officials discussing this. Crowd not real happy about it. There's a look at Sam Cunningham. Long discussion.
It's a nice ball from Pinnaker. He put it right where it had to be.
And it is interference against Washington, so first penalty of the game, but a costly one. It keeps things alive for the Fresno State Bulldogs. That's their first down of the ball game, oh, by the way.
And Cunningham had to make up some speed because he didn't touch him at the line of scrimmage. And he did get there a little bit early.
Yeah, I thought he did.
And that flag is going to come out every time, Barry, when you don't look back at the ball. When you're looking straight at the guy and you have your hand on the receiver, they're going to throw that flag every time. We call it face guarding back in the day.
That's
I don't
right.
think they still do anymore.
I don't think there is face guarding anymore in college football. So the Bulldogs will have their best field position of the game now as they get across the 40-yard line. They're yet to be in Washington territory. Bryson Sumlin continues at the tailback spot. They hustle to the line of scrimmage. They give it to Sumlin, right side. Sumlin with a little room. 45 to about the 46-yard line. A gain of 5 on first down. The first down line is brought to you by Overstock.com, your online outlet. It's all about the O. Another flag down on that play, and this one appears to be going against Fresno State.
I think it's going to be a hold on Logan Mankins. Remember, this is his first game in a year, almost 2 years. Very special offensive tackle at Fresno State.
Fresno State offense kind of sputtering early in this game, not really showing any consistency. But the defense doing yeoman's work.
.74, 10-yard penalty, previous spot, still first down.
So it'll be first down, but it'll be first down at 20 now. Fourth penalty for Fresno State, 47 yards in penalties. It'll take it back to just over the 31-yard line.
And you expect to have a few penalties in your first game of the year, but this is way too many in the first quarter for Pat Hill, and he will not be happy at halftime. I can guarantee you that.
Sumlin remains the tailback. In motion comes Reed. And out of the backfield, here's Sumlin on a swing pass. 30, outside 35, 40, and got about 12 of it back as he got to the 42, maybe the 43-yard line. Nice blocking by the tight end, Duncan Reed. Well, Gus Hansen's taken a big lead so far, but 4 of the world's best poker players know that this is their last chance before the finals to make a run at the Great Dane. It's the Poker Superstars Invitational, tonight at 9, only on FSN.
Poker's like the new cigar, you know what I mean?
It's a hot ticket,
All the middle-aged guys all over wearing those Havana clothing, they love poker.
Not to mention the kids. Every kid in America is playing poker.
Is that the right message to send?
Second down and 8. Pinnaker with a lot of time. Now he throws incomplete, and I don't know. It looked to me that time like Derek Johnson had a lot of jersey there as well. Jermaine Johnson, the intended receiver.
Fresno State has had a hard time really coming up with some rhythm here offensively. They've had some turnovers. They've had a couple penalties. They've made a change at tailback now. You see Pinniger with a whole bunch of time to throw. Throws the ball in there, but really nice coverage from Derek Johnson.
I'd say it was interference. Nice coverage, but
he was right on top of him, and when the guy makes an inside move like that, and you're right on top of him, you can't really call interference on that one. It's the outside moves that will get you on interference.
So third down and long now for Fresno State. Out of the gun once more. Pinniger straight back. Blitz comes. Pinniger in trouble. Down he goes. Back to the 31-yard line. That time Joe Lobendon just blew in untouched.
And what Lobendon did on this play was green dog him. That's what we like to call it back in the day. He waits, comes right behind, and finally makes that play. He's a hard guy to get under, even if they did try to block him. He's only about 5'10", and he weighs about 240. He's a junior, didn't play a lot last year, and you get a defensive back, Benjamin, coming around and finishing him off. That was not a pleasant play for Pinniger.
So Lingua will come on to do the punting, and Charles Frederick stands at the 25-yard line. This time a high twisting kick, good kick, will drive Frederick all the way back to the 13-yard line. Fair catch, excellent punt that time by Lingua. So it'll put the Huskies deep in their own territory to start things. And now we're going to see a new quarterback for the Washington Huskies, Isaiah Stanback. He is just a sophomore. He played as a true freshman last year, but played wideout for the most part. And they like great athlete, says Gilby. Maybe not quite the pure passer that Foz is, but runs the option extremely well. Comes out of Garfield High School here in Seattle. A school that has produced a ton of basketball players, but quite honestly, not a lot of football players.
Washington's offense just got a lot more exciting, Barry.
Stanback could scoop. They go from the gun on first down. Here's Stanback rolling right. He's going to keep it, and he's not going to get much, about a yard. Fresno State's defense really strings the field out very well in those plays.
They run very well, and one of the best runners on that defense is the man that made that tackle, James Sanders, 5'11", 205. He's a junior out of Porterville. Best safety in the history of the program, they're saying. A physical tackler. This guy's all whack, loves to bring it. I mean, he just loves to play football, loves to tackle. Reminds me of a guy I played with by the name of Troy Polamalu. People that just love to be physical and tackle and be nasty up in there.
Out of the I formation this time. 2nd and 9. Pitch to James. James got a little gap, cut back nicely. Gets it up across the 20 to the 22, and it'll be close to a Washington first down. Garrett McIntyre made the tackle along with Tyrone Culver, but a nice cutback by James.
And this is the excitement I was talking about when you bring Isaiah Stanback in the game. He gets that pitch out there immediately. See him put a little move on the end before he makes that pitch. Alan Goodwin finally gets up to make the stop, but not before Kenny James. So a little bit of skill in that option. And I was shocked they were going to run that option, but it seems to be working right now.
And they give you a lot of looks off of it, too. It's not just your basic triple option. Here's Stanback again, and he's going to get enough, I believe. This will depend on the spot. And I think he's going to get a left-footed spot, which I think is going to give him the first down. It will probably bring chains, but I'm quite sure this is enough.
Sometimes I don't see so well, Barry. Is this a TCU game we're watching?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't see the option much in the Pac-10. Oregon State ran it for a while in the old days. Not very well, but they ran it.
And if you know the history of Keith Gilbertson, you say, where does the option fit into that? You know, in Idaho, he never ran it. He never ran it at Cal. I played for Gilbertson for about a week and a half when I was a California Golden Bear before I transferred down to USC. And you never wonder, you know, where he got that option. He started to run it right when he got to Washington here when they had Marcus Tuiasosopo.
I think Keith Gilbertson now is the guy who says, I'm going to bend my offense to the players I have. That's what he told us yesterday, and that's what he's doing. We've played a quarter, and it's a scoreless ball game. Fresno State nothing, Washington nothing. Second quarter coming up on the other side of this commercial break. Don't go away, we're coming back. We welcome you back. We prepare to start the second quarter. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis. And take a look at our Home Depot longest current NCAA streaks of 500 or better. And look who's number 3, the Washington Huskies. 6-6 last year, but 27 consecutive years of 500 or better. Here's a little swing pass. This is intended for Sampson. That was a nervous ball thrown by Stanback.
Yeah, sometimes when you throw those balls, the guys don't really know if it's a pitch or if it's an incomplete pass. Doesn't matter if you hear the whistle or not. Every time that happens, they teach you to get on top of that ball, and that is exactly what Sheldon Sampson did in that situation. James Sanders with the pressure on him in that one. You know, you look at Washington, they just barely pulled out that 500 season last year, and it was with a great victory. And that's really the Apple Cup victory. That's what really made this Keith Gilbertson's team. They beat Washington State on the last second on one of the last plays. Cody Pickett to Corey Williams.
There's a give this time to Sampson, and he gets it ahead for about 5, to about the 28-yard line. Sheldon Sampson, sophomore out of Lakewood, Washington, played in all 12 games last year, had 8 touchdowns. Was a high school 110-meter hurdles champion. That's what he did last year. 8 scores, though, in 60 rushes. That's not bad.
He's not bigger than James, only 5'11", 200 pounds, but he's got sprinter speed, and he does run a lot on the goal line, which is shocking because he's only 200 pounds. This is the back they really like. This is who they really think is their home run hitter in the backfield.
They go out of the gun on 3rd down. 3rd and 6. Stand back on the throw. Throws a little screen to Tuiasosopo. He's got room. All the way to about the 38-yard line and a first down for the Huskies. Khalif Barnes, a big block. One of the Bulldogs had a real shot at him right as he caught the ball. And he just ran right by it.
Here you see Tuiasosopo making that play, and that's what a great fullback gives you. He gives you a 3rd option, a 4th option on 3rd down, a guy that can get you 7 or 8 yards on a quick screen pass. Tuiasosopo's got great hands, but he's not a better catcher than he is a blocker. That's really his job out there. He's an extra offensive lineman.
Not only great hands, but great genes.
Big family tree up here in Washington, I'll tell you that.
Including his sister, who's now an assistant volleyball coach here. Bulldogs might have jumped. This may be a free play. Stanback reaching ahead, got about 3 yards and no flag, so apparently they did not think that Fresno jumped. Garrett McIntyre makes the tackle. Now we talk about Zach Tuiasosopo as being from some pretty good lineage. His dad, Manu, played at UCLA, played for many years in the NFL. Marcus, as you said, backup quarterback of the Oakland Raiders. Brother Matt was going to come and be a quarterback here in Seattle, and a highly touted quarterback, but he signed instead to play baseball for the Seattle Mariners. He's playing down the road in Everett, Washington, and his sister Leslie played for the volleyball team and is now one of the coaches. He's also got a couple of cousins on this football team. Redshirt freshman. Give the fullback to Tuiasosopo. It's a race. He's the 30. He's the 20. He's the 10, and dragged down at about the 8-yard line by Richard Marshall.
For a second like Zach was going to take that one to the house. There's a reason that this guy is ranked by the Sporting News as the #1 fullback in all of college football. Watch this hole just open up for him. Great block by Barnes, and he's the leader out there, and he races through that hole. Very explosive speed right at the line of scrimmage for Zach, and then Richard Marshall finally catches up to him, but it takes him a little bit of a while to get there. Brad Vanham in the center also really coming off the ball. They caught him off guard with the fullback. Kind of a triple option look coming from the Huskies there.
A gain of 50 to Tuiasosopo, who has been much more part of the offense as usual. And he'll stand back into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, that was effective.
We said the tempo and excitement was going to raise with Isaiah Stanback on the field, and it certainly has. Leads them on a drive, and this crowd's finally woken up here in the second quarter.
Well, neither team was able to do much business offensively, and then bang, bang, 2 plays, 58 yards and a score.
Token fake, and he makes that cut that Casey Paz cannot make. Straight up to the end zone and makes the play.
So Knutson to try the point. He's missed 2 field goals, but this one he drives through. And it was Michael Bronstein who did that kicking and not Knutson. So Keith Gilbertson going with a different kicker. This one gets it done. It's a 7-0 ball game just underway in the second quarter, and we're coming back.